Although this is a crypto channel and I love crypto, I am fascinated by the macro conditions that affect the crypto market. So today I'm going to talk about those macro conditions, particularly the economic policies of the US government. Are we out of the woods? Is it going to be clear skies and smooth sailing between now and the end of the year? I don't think so, but I believe whatever is awaiting us is not going to be as destabilizing as what we experienced last month. Why? The events of April threatened to erode the political and economic leverage the US has enjoyed for so many years by causing a crisis of confidence in not only the US dollar, but US government bonds. These two assets are the pillars of the global influence of the United States. And if the world loses confidence in them, then they've lost confidence in the United States. The US dollar has been the global reserve currency for more than 80 years. In 1944, following World War II, 44 representatives of the Allied nations, these were the nations that fought Germany, Italy, and Japan. So 44 representatives of those Allied nations met in the village of Bretton Woods in New Hampshire in the United States to create a new financial system that was more appropriate for the post-World War II world, but that would also provide the stability that these countries needed in order to rebuild. The anchor of that financial system was the US dollar. It was anchored to gold, and the currencies of the other countries were anchored to it. Since then, many aspects of that financial system have been abandoned. For example, the US dollar is no longer pegged to the gold, and most currencies are not pegged to the US dollar. But what has persisted is the status of the US dollar in the world. And this status has given the United States considerable economic and political benefits. So economically, because there is such a large demand for US dollars and US government bonds, the United States is able to issue bonds with low interest rates. In other parts of the world, in order to entice investors to buy government bonds, the interest rates of these government bonds are usually quite high. On the political front, because most global transactions are carried out in US dollars, a country can be penalized for its actions by being denied access to a dollar-dominated financial system by the United States. This is how the United States is able to sanction some nations. So the status of the US dollar has given the United States considerable leverage, economically and politically. However, following what happened in April, confidence in the US dollar and US government bonds dropped. There was reduced demand for the dollar, which fell against a basket of currencies, falling to its lowest level in 3 years, calling into question its status as a store of value, as a stable currency, and even the global reserve currency. The bond market was not too happy either. Entities holding US bonds dumped them. And when they dumped them, they increased the yield on these bonds. In short, there was a crisis of confidence in those bonds. They were no longer seen as stable, very much like the US dollar. But because the yields on some of those bonds have an impact on the interest rate that is charged on car loans, mortgages, even the interest rate of corporate bonds. Had that situation been allowed to persist, it would have increased the interest rates on all those products, and that would have had long-term effects on the US economy. The yield and the interest rate for a particular bond are not the same. And this is because the prices of bonds varies. Sometimes you buy them at face value, sometimes you buy them at a premium, and other times you buy them at a discount. Well, let me illustrate. Let's say we have two people, Jackie and James. Jackie buys a bond that has a face value of $1,000 at $1,000. That bond has a coupon rate of 10%. So at the end of the year, Jackie will receive an interest payment of $100. But then James buys that same bond at $950. His yield is going to be much higher than that of Jackie because he bought that bond at a discount. There's still a lot of uncertainty. The tariffs, the pauses on the retaliatory tariffs are only temporary, so we still don't know what's going to happen after 3 months. But I believe that whatever is awaiting us, at least when it comes to economic policy, is not going to be as destabilizing as what we went through in April. So those are my thoughts. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to share them down below. This is all that I have for you today. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.